The human spirit was designed to endure and overcome. It has so much power, such that when it has overcome, it can hold memory of its experiences and yet be fully present to enjoy the current joys and victories that life presents to it. I believe that if we know more about each other, we can learn more and be gracious to each other. The concepts that you hold about life are not necessarily true. They're limited to your exposure. The day you get comprehension of this, you'll be more kind, patient, and deal with people more graciously. I welcome you to a place of grace, the Knowledge Hub edition. Friendships are always supposed to be meaningful. Horisane Nesane, Ndwamato Dangare, Henry Baloyi, they've put that to the test. They're an architect, economist, and a management accounting, but they ventured into music production, and today they will teach us all about it. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Knowledge Hub. Well, today on this episode, we want to teach you how to start a business outside your field of specialization. I called in a group of friends. They started a music production. None of them are musicians, but they're making it roll. Well, I've got my friends, Ndwamato and Hodisani. Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much.
Please feel free on my set. I don't want 10 seats here. I want people who are free.
Now we're at home, okay?
Thank you. It's home buddies talking to each other. Well, I love people that maximize their friendships because I believe that time is of essence and we must only keep people that are meaningful amongst ourselves. As friends, how do you guys then decide? Because I know none of you are musicians. Maybe let's help the audience. What did you guys study? Let's start there. We can start with Hodisani.
Thank you very much for having us here. And yeah, indeed, none of us, we've got that background of music. But I think it has to do with a calling.
Yes.
Yeah, because we don't have a background. So what happened is that, about 3 years back,
Yes.
which was 2017, I had a dream of being an artist.
You singing? Hodi?
Yes,
Allah,
listening,
Allah.
without having experience, knowledge, and all that. And by the way, I ended up releasing a CD.
I know. Why did I forget?
You know about that, okay. So after
you
that,
still owe me.
I know.
You said you will collect the disc.
Yeah, but after releasing the CD, I think that's when we started paying attention in terms of, how does the industry work? What is it that we have to know? So we had to withdraw that CD. We sit back and try to understand ourselves. What is it that we want to do?
Yes.
or contribute? So that's where it all started. And then we switched from me being an artist to establish a group called Zion Afrika. So that's how it came into existence.
But what did you do at school as well?
Now I've done a lot of things.
I know, you've got a list of mastering.
Yeah, professionally, I'm an architect.
Okay.
And subsequent to that, I'm also a facilities manager. I'm a professional in that field. And I've done a number of postgrad courses in operations.
You're probably a doctor now. Maybe I'm not
I'm
addressing you correctly.
Yeah. Fortunately, about a few weeks ago, I passed my MBA. So I'm going to graduate in June. So, but yeah, it was PhD. I'm going there.
Let me say welcome on board.
Thank you very much.
And Ndwamato, what did you study at school?
Thank you. Thank you for hosting us. I studied management accounting. I'm an accountant by profession.
Okay.
Like you said, this is about passion and the calling. I remember when we were launching his CD, we didn't know a lot about music industry, the administration, and all those. So we learned a lot from that experience. And then when we decided to move to Zion Afrika, we had a little bit experience from that event that we hosted back in 2017.
I want us to go back to 2017. What are the conversations? Where do you guys start in saying, let us establish Zion Afrika? What were the first things that you guys had to do?
I think it has to do with the church, that we go to, which is Zion Christian Church. And subsequent to that, the music that we're doing, it's gospel.
Yes.
So the priority was to serve what we normally call it Zion genre. It's a gospel. So then the name was Life Africa. But that name Life Africa was not really, connecting with the masses that we ought to serve.
Yes.
And we changed that name to Zion so that it can appeal to the market, that we want to serve. And the concept was built, on creating a mass choir, which that mass choir will feature different artists from the genre.
Talking about that it was influenced by your church, is this thing for your church members, or it is catering in terms of the artists that can come on board, or it's catering for everybody? Ndwala, you can take that question.
The concept, like you said, it's focused on Zion gospel, but the shows and events that we've hosted, we didn't only feature Zion artists. We've got artists from various music, gospel music, like we've featured Dakindo, we've featured Ropiwa Manyaga, we've featured so many artists, not only the Zion gospel artists.
But so it's for everybody. It's just that it's a platform where the Zion Christian church people take dominance, or it doesn't matter.
To add on what we're saying, it's what we normally call it a broader movement. Even though you're a broader movement, there is a your niche market, that you serve. But because it's a gospel that doesn't discriminate, we have to make sure that we include, all artists that are playing a role in that space. That's how we've worked with Bolebus Khobela, Bo Rebecca, Malope, Ahandan Tanzi, Ropiwa, and so forth.
Okay.
So that's how
because
it is.
I want to understand, when you are coming into this industry and none of you worked full time on it, how do you put up the resources? What was the process in terms of that you had to follow in making the first show happen? What did you guys have to do?
That's a tricky one, but it was a combination of various things. Number one, I will say it was also, His grace, to ensure that we are able to put, the concept together. And then number two, because we started without a sponsor, without any support from anyone, we have to put resources from our pockets, the little that we have, to say, let's do this. That's number three. Number two, we also had to work with people that have got a little bit of knowledge in terms of how it works. I remember when we did the launch, there was Ropiwa Manyaga behind the sound and all that. So those three elements, they enabled us to put the concept together. It was only after about 2 years whereby there were potential sponsors that were coming on board, having interest on what we're doing. And currently, I think we're in a situation whereby the concept, is paying itself, so which is much better.
How do you find your sponsors? How did you identify them, or how did they find you?
Also, again, it's combination, of different things. Number one, we have a way in which we approach, potential sponsors that resonate with what we're doing. Number two, some of them, they call us and say, we've seen you guys, this concept on Facebook, and want to partner with you guys. For instance, I remember in the middle of lockdown, we were spotted by Eben Brew, which owns One Gospel and Tumisa TV. Out of the blue, they just come and say, guys, we have seen what we are doing.
So there are people that benefited during COVID.
You see, yes, we are one of those. So they identified us, we said, and then we agreed upon. So sometimes, we approach, sometimes potential sponsors, they come to us.
Okay, because we want to help people that probably they've got ideas that have nothing to do with what they do on a day-to-day basis. How do you find that the skills that you have from your professions are helping you in facilitating or running your business? Either of you can take the question. I can throw it to Namato because I'm looking at him.
Sure. He's an architect. I'm an accountant. So he deals more with the processes.
Yes.
So he understands the processes. We can't just do anything without any processes. I'm more into numbers. So whatever that we are investing, we check if we're gonna have return on investment, even though sometimes it takes time to get returns or to break even. So it really helps us from the accounting point of view and from his engineering knowledge.
I know strong characters. Strong characters. How do you guys then manage conflict? Because all of you are very bright.
Yeah.
How then do you manage the different views when we are trying to come to a common ground?
No, it's very easy. You know, in Zion Africa, just that many people, they don't know, we've got lanes. You know, you stick to your lane, I stick to my lane.
Yes.
So, as he said, you know, my lane, I drive strategic matters of running the organization. You know, he deals with operations. You know, there are other colleagues, they deal with technical issues. So, when you stick to your lane, you know, conflicts are not there because you know what you're doing. And we only meet to discuss, you know, to say, what are you doing on your space? So that's how we manage the conflicts. But surely, because it's a big movement, there's a little bit of conflict there and there, but it's easy to manage them when you've got your lanes.
Because, you know, I'm thinking, I'm this artist. I want to come into this thing, into your production. How do I then approach you guys? Can I even approach you guys, or you must scout?
Of course, no, you can.
You can.
Why not?
I mean, like if you want to be part of the show, you want to work with us, you can email us on admin@zionafrica.co.za. It's Zion Africa with the K. Facebook, it's Zion Africa. Instagram, it's Zion_Africa. Twitter, it's Zion Africa. So we are available on all platforms, social media platforms.
And then what are the challenges as business people that you encountered in setting up the program itself?
Yeah, the challenges, they are there. I think the first one we've already, you know, spoke about, which is the cost, the finance that we have. And then number two, it's also the challenge of selling the idea to people, you know, because you are selling, you know, something that we haven't consulted people in terms of what they want. The only thing that we have done, it was a research. So those are one of the challenges, because sometimes when the show was playing on TV, there were some that were very negative about the show, you know, but we took those as words of encouragement for us to do more. And then third one, the challenges of working with many people, because Zion Africa, it's a team of about 40 people.
Who are those? Like, what are they doing?
We've got technical people, you know, doing audio, visuals, people running operations, you know, we've got the choir, just the choir and the band only, we talk about 20 people. So it's a big, so managing people, you know, it's always difficult. Everyone has got a view, you know, and all that. But we try by all means with the experience that we have had from, you know, where we come from to manage that. So those are the main challenges that we are confronted with.
And then, Dwamato, do you have anything else to add in terms of the challenges, in terms of your personalities? Do you want to add something regarding that?
Yeah, like he said, working with a large group, it's challenging itself. And then to pitch the idea to people or to sell the idea, it's also a challenge. Obviously, people receive the idea in different angles. But we learn a lot when people give us feedback. And then we go back to the drawing board and see what we can take, what we can't take, because we can't take everything.
And talking about going back to the drawing board, what is the vision that Zion Africa holds? What is it that you guys want to accomplish so that it is clear for all of us who want to follow you guys?
No, the dream, it's very big. We have a slogan or a motto that says, you know, setting the new agenda for the new era. So the sound gospel music, it was in an era where people used to know what only saying, Matlakala, Mjeremane, Nkosana, and all of those, they've now, passed on. May their soul rest in peace. So after that era, there was a gap. They left a very huge gap, and they left at a time whereby the music industry was evolving. People moving from buying CD, to streaming online and all that, Facebook. So when we established that concept, it was also to close that gap, and subsequent to that, and also, just to preserve the legacy that they've left. So our slogan is to set the new agenda, and we are sort of like one of the first groups in that genre, to start playing live on stage.
Yes.
So whatever that we do, it's live on stage. We've got director, on stage. And then after we started that, that's when we've seen many artists, they're starting to launch their CDs, playing live on stage. They've got directors on stage and all that. And even the TV show that we do, it's live on stage. So that was the agenda
that's what I wanted to ask, that if a person does not know about Zion Afrika, is it a program on TV? Is it something I watch on YouTube? Where do I get the productions that you guys are doing?
Good question. Someone once asked, what is Zion Afrika? Because whatever that we do, we're trying to maintain the name Zion Afrika.
Yes.
Whether it's a transport, we do have a bus.
Oh,
it's branded Africa.
Okay.
Yes, there's a TV show.
It's
Zion Afrika. It's the outdoor shows that we do. It's Zion Afrika. So we wanted to preserve that name. But we're all over Facebook, Instagram. We're there on TV. So you just type Zion Afrika, you'll find us.
Well, I want to give our audience a chance to listen to your music, and we'll give them a few seconds and clippets of how your music sounds.
Akibatli misolo, akibatli di borofito, akibatli di kwap, akibatla Jesu. Akibatli misolo, akibatli di borofito, akibatli di akibatla Jesu. I see, I receive. Ke batla Jesu, Jesu fela. Ha ke batle misolo. Ha ke batle I see, I receive. Ha ke batle dihwapa, ke batla Jesu. Ha ke batle misolo. Ha ke batle I see, I receive. Ke batla Jesu. Give me more. Give me more. This is enough. Oh, give me more. Give me more. Give I receive. Ke batla Jesu. Dintho tsa mahala, dintho tsa dihwaphwap, tsa kapetjana, dintho tsa go fela fela. Give me more. Give me. Ke batla. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the music, and that was Zion Afrika. You can check their social media accounts on our description. Well, I called in Ndibo onto set. Ndibo, we were trying to help people that are trying to start a business here that is in this field. I want us to take us behind the scenes. Paint a picture for us of what happens behind the scenes for somebody to just understand ABC, nothing difficult.
Okay, you see, the video that you guys just saw now,
Yes.
that's a final product.
Yes.
A production is divided into 4 stages, which is pre-production, production, post-production, and distribution.
Yes.
So what happened is the channel called us and they say they need content. So for us to deliver content, we need to go to a pre-production, which is the planning. So you're writing down the script. So, okay, this is how the show will look like. This is how we're going to shoot it. And then you jump to stage 2, which is production. That's when you bring in your cameras. So, okay, now this is the stage. You build a set. You bring in the musicians. These are the songs that are going to play. And then you go to post-production, which is editing. That's when you fix all the mistakes. You're basically polishing your floor. Then after that, when you go to the distribution, which is you go to the channel and say, this is the final product.
What are some of the skills that are required by the people behind the camera?
Personally, I studied film and TV production. And then to do film is very wide. There's so many things involved. There's drama, there's film, there's TV. So this is more of TV, music, and reality in the same pot, which is a bit difficult because I'm not a musician. I need to work with musicians. I need to understand how they want to do things. I still want them to understand how I want things to be done. And then luckily I was exposed to a music industry. I've done a lot of live shows. So that element, bringing in that element into the production also helped me a lot. So you deal with a lot of technicalities. There's so many cameras there that are not the same, that you need to make sure they look the same. You also need to get people who are also qualified, you know, because if you're directing a show and you tell an operator, okay, this is what I want, this is the show that I want, they need to be able to jump in and do it exactly as you want. And then you're working with someone who does not understand technical at all. So you as a presenter and I say, no, the light is not fine. You don't understand what you're saying, but you need to bear with me as a technical director. Okay, fine. They're saying the light is not fine, or you go through the lines and you say, I say cut, and then take it from the top, and you be like, I'm tired. So it takes it takes a lot of patience, not just technical skills that you taught at school and not the skills that you pick up along the way to get there.
Well, you mentioned a lot of stages in terms of production, post-production, until distribution. It sounds like it's a lot of money to put up a show like Zion Afrika. How does one even raise capital? How did you guys raise capital to start your business?
There's someone called executive producer.
Oh, is that what the name comes with?
Yeah.
So something I just did.
So I'm a director, I'm a producer, and then I'm the editor of the show. So I say we need 1, 2, 3, 4 to make this work. And then Mr. Executive Producer.
Where is Mr. Executive Producer?
Okay.
Can he announce himself?
This is what we can, this is what we cannot do. And then, but honestly speaking, you never work with what you want. You just have to make things work with what you have. It's a very difficult process because at the end of the day, you need to save money, but you don't need to compromise the quality.
Yes.
So it's a very, very hectic thing, you see. Because I remember when we started, I said, okay, fine, we have the script, but then not everyone can read the script and translate it into a final product. Usually the channels will be like, bring the pilot. So we agreed with, okay, we're going to shoot the pilot. And then Mr. Executive Producer, they said to me, but this thing will cost us. I'm like, yeah. And it's like, okay, let's shoot a pilot as the first episode. If it works, no pilot. It's a pilot, but then if it works, it's episode 1.
Oh,
so
good.
Which is it's quite impossible to have a show without doing a pilot. So I said to him, okay, I'm too technical. I've been doing this. I'm getting, okay, he's not understanding what I want. But then at the end of the day, you need to have to deliver. So we set up for the pilot first episode. And then the first day of shoot, we end up shooting 3 episodes.
With whose budget?
Tricky one. Okay, yeah, I'm the executive producer.
Announce yourself.
I'm Mudisa Nesane, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then how does one get their concept into television? You can answer that one.
So what happens with TV, they already know what they're looking for.
Oh, so it's like a normal tendering process that we respond to.
Almost there.
Okay.
Because there's 2 processes. There's a process where you go to a channel and say, hi, we have an idea of doing this. Or the channel will be like, we need a show that can attract this kind of audience that looks like this. And then they will invite production houses. Okay, guys, we have a show. Which one can give us what we want? That's where you need that pilot to show we can do it best.
Yes.
So with us, it was a matter of, at first we were doing music videos, live shows, and then we were sending them to TV. That's when they said, no, we need a show from you, not just music videos.
Yes.
So our show, it's not just more of performances. There's a time where you do interviews. There's diaries where we do profiles, you see. So because we also profile artists who are not there yet, who are still upcoming. We follow their background, how they start the music career. We also profile their journey because not all of them have done live performances. So we put them into a live setup and we profile their journey when they're still rehearsing, working with the MD. Most of them have never worked with an MD. Most of them have never really worked with a band. So we profile that, and then to show them a journey of finding yourself on stage and then we put them on stage. So just to give them the confidence that, okay, this is where you started, and then this is where you end. You see, so it has a look of like a documentary or a reality show, sort of. And then you go back to stage where you have, your live DVD setup where artists are performing. So it becomes a very, very, very tricky thing to write it down and you show someone, okay, this is the show I have to. It won't make sense to them. So they will want to see the pilot. But the shooting a pilot is expensive.
Which makes sense.
You're still going to use the same resources you have to use to do
the actual show.
So
okay.
We had to do it like that.
In developing Zion Afrika through these years, what are the greatest lessons that you have learned? You can tell me from a business point and from a personal point. We'll start with Horisan, and then Dibo can also tell us his lessons.
One of the lessons which is very close to my heart is that says, everything is possible. You won't believe if I tell you that we had to put about 15 episodes in 1 week. Sure. 15 episodes in 1 week. So we were moving very fast and we were very shocked that everything is possible. Number two, we have learned that, doing a concept which is of your own, making without copying, it's much better. Because when we started Zion Afrika, we didn't make any reference to anyone. Yes. And we find it very easy that we are doing something that
it allows creativity.
Yes. Yeah. So for me, those were the two great lessons that that we have learned here.
Yeah. Dibo?
Well, from technical point of view, since I've been in the industry for years, I learned patience and the power of teamwork, you see. Because we were bringing different people with different mindsets. Yes. I coming here, I understand cameras and sound, and then he doesn't understand anything of those. But then at the end of the day, he needs to understand why I'm saying yes. He needs to understand why I'm saying no. I also need to understand him when he's saying why and no. So
important.
That's why I say the importance of teamwork. You see, I have to tell him, okay, we need to do this, and he have to help me. And sometimes he won't even understand, which means he needs to listen to me when I'm saying, let's do this. That's where patience comes in. I also need to listen to him and say, let's do this way. If with no teamwork, we can exclude the money or you can bring so much money. I do not believe this show was made possible because of the money that was sourced. It was made possible because of the teamwork and the people who are willing, and we were sharing the same vision of what we want to put out there at the end of the day.
That's very true. I love dreaming. I encourage dreaming. Where do you guys want to see yourself in the next few years? You can paint the collective view, but you can tell us separately. Where do you guys want to see yourself?
Again, it's a tricky one. Sometimes when I'm sitting down, I always think that we have arrived there. Because, we have done events, we are on TV, social media, we've uplifted artists, we've contributed where we can. But I think for me, it's just to grow, the movement, to be bigger than what it is now. And also number two, also to see more sponsors, coming on board. Yes. We are very happy with those that we have on board now, but we want to see more sponsors, coming on board. And also, we just want to see ourselves doing what we are doing, every time, without compromising quality. So that's where we want to see ourselves in the next future.
That's good. In closing, what can you advise young people that are trying to establish themselves in business as to whether they've got capital or they don't have capital? What are some of the words that you can give as guidance? And I'll appreciate a response from both of you. We'll start with Ndivo, and then Horisani will close it up for us.
You know what? Since you mentioned with or without capital, I love capital, but I don't believe in capital.
Yes.
If you are not sure of what you want to do or what you are, you will never achieve anything. Because honestly speaking, nothing is easy. It's just that when you look at the output or the final product, it looks like, okay, bang, 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 there it was. And it's never like that. When we look back to where we started, from a cell phone video that was uploaded on Facebook, and we thought, wow, we've got 20 views, to where we are now, from someone who's just passing, they'll be like, oh, okay. But it was never easy, to do this show, to get the quality out, to sit with the channels. It was more of, we know what we want, we know where we want to go. So determination, perseverance. Those are the elements that you must never, never, never lose by your side. Always know where you want to go. It doesn't have to be a straight way, but just know your end point. I want to get from here to there.
True.
How you get there, it's because life has no formula.
Yes.
What worked for me won't work for you.
It might, yes.
It might not. That's how it is. So
Speak to
just
me.
know.
Speak to me, the young person. I want to get myself elevated.
Yeah, just to echo on what he said. Yeah, you can have money, talent, but if you don't have a discipline, sense of ownership on what you want to do, then you're not gonna be able to achieve. So you need to have a sense of ownership. You need to have passion. You need to have discipline in what you want to do, and also just to be yourself. Without really copying other people out there, but be yourself and own what you want to do. We've seen many talent that go down drain because they rely much on talent and money, without understanding that you need to have passion, and then you need to have a sense of ownership on what you are doing. So Zion Afrika is there. If you've got passion, you've got interest in what you want to do, we are there to assist.
Well, I'll come. I'm an artist as well.
You're welcome.
Well,
to be good to
guys.
see you.
Thank you so much for taking your time to come and be interviewed by myself. I also learned, and thank you. Well, I hope you guys at home enjoyed the show and you're going to follow your dreams and make things happen. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.